Welcome to another episode of Throne Mastermind Sessions. The session is beginning. All members are now expected to assume position on their throne.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Throne Mastermind Sessions. This is Eli Marcus. Today, we'll be talking about psychological hijacking, how to identify it, and how it works. So today, I'm going to lecture and channel a message on how psychological hijacking works, how to identify it in others who are in your peer group or inner circle, and how to protect yourself from it. This topic also touches on how people can be spiritually possessed with entities that have psychologically hijacked them. When a person is psychologically hijacked, they are possessed by a spirit foreign to them, and they are being remote controlled by the person or entity that has psychologically hijacked them. In this state of consciousness, their authentic self is offline, and they are entirely under the remote control and command of the hijacker, to the point they unconsciously obey the energetic commands and signals from those who are remote controlling them. While they are under this spell, they are usually completely unaware that they are not in command of themselves and have lost control of their executive functions. Leaks in one's system, such as shame surrounding specific topics, judgment, fear, or their unique trauma, are often the leaks that get exploited by the hijacker to gain command over their psychology and behaviors. So again, greetings everyone. Today we're going to be talking about psychological hijacking. Now, when I think about someone being psychologically hijacked, it means that somehow a virus has infiltrated their mind. Somehow a spirit, an entity, a person has infiltrated their command center. And in this process, it's almost like a parasite gaining control over their humanity, their thoughts, their words, their behaviors, their choices, how they choose to show up in the world. And they're not the ones who are making the important or critical decisions in their life. They're not the ones who are writing the script in their story. However, they're still alive. Their brain still works. They still appear normal for the most part. They still seem to have be existing, like they're eating. They are having conversations. They walk around. They go to work. They pay their bills. And yet, they can still be completely psychologically hijacked to the point where they don't even recognize themselves. How does this happen? It happens with leaks in a person's system, breaches in their system, shame, judgment, fear, trauma, certain traumas that people have. And when someone triggers that part of them, and it gets so complex, but when someone triggers and infiltrates that part of them, they can literally, and if that person or entity is in position where the person can, the person has to perform for them or feel like they have to perform for them, they will do what they believe who the person who has psychologically hijacked them wants them to do, or win over their favor, or will keep their approval. We see this in adults as well as children. You probably have known someone, a friend, a cousin, a family member, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, who someone you know so well, and then out of the blue, you can tell that they have been psychologically hijacked. Perhaps imagining them getting into a cult, if any of you have friends or family who somehow got caught up in a cult. Oh, or how about some of those network marketing groups? All due respect to the legitimate ones. But those pyramid schemes is what they call them. They have been psychologically hijacked. And in this possession that they're under, they are so plugged into acting out the strip of their program of what's controlling them remotely. And it's so amazing how this can happen, because it's it doesn't have to be a physical thing. Someone can be programmed, hijacked, their concept of reality temporarily controlled, and they're following the strip of their hijacker. They're following the commands of their hijacker. People get in this position to be hijacked, again, through fear, judgment, trauma, scarcity, desperation. Those are the types of things that makes people vulnerable for hijacking, a sense of belonging. Those are the types of things that makes people vulnerable for being hijacked. Psychologically hijacked. How to identify it and how it works. More importantly, how we can be a threat to your own personal space, your own personal evolution, when you have individuals in your space who have been psychologically hijacked. Because when a person is psychologically hijacked, they can also operate as a spy for an opposing person, opposing team, without even talking about it. It's without even talking about it directly with the person they have this contract with, this energetic contract. It's amazing how things work, how energetics work. Because what I'm talking about is deeply unconscious. But these are real contracts that people are making on a day-to-day basis in their relationships, in their career fields, in their professional spaces. Hell, even online, digitally. People are making unconscious contracts and being unconsciously hijacked, and have contracts with certain entities, certain spirits, to do as they are told, to follow the command of the signal. They're using clues, micro expressions as to what their commands are. And they are possessed by this outside entity that has psychologically hijacked them. What are some examples of how people can get caught up in this? Certain fears, certain judgments, insecurities. And when a person who they feel like they want validation from, that they feel validates them as legitimate, or validates them as cool, or validates them as credible, and they fear that person's judgment, fear that person's rejection of them, and they fall under, especially when that person has a convicting nature about certain things, and they're invasive with it. Like, if you're this, then you're the worst thing on earth. If you're that, then they have a convicting nature. When someone falls under the spell of that kind of dynamic with a person, they are subjected to being psychologically hijacked by them, especially when that person knows that they have that sort of psychological dominance over them. So without even talking about it directly, there's no conversation of you're going to be my slave, you're going to be my submissive, none of that. It's a psychological thing. Without even discussing it consciously, they fall under the control and the possession of the one that has psychological dominance over them for whatever reason, whatever insecurity, trauma, fear, whatever their unique reason is. They mirror the opinions and ideas and viciousness of the person who's hijacking them. And this contract could last for ages. It could last for years. It could last for a lifetime. But if they were to get out of the spell of that cycle, they would get back to themselves and like, wow, I have not seen myself in this. I haven't had a conversation I haven't said my real opinion, my real ideas, or my real experience in so long. It's possible that a person can be psychologically hijacked by more than one person in their world, in their reality. It's a bully type relationship, bully type dynamic. There are some people who have an entire council of individuals who have psychologically hijacked them. Their thoughts, their movements, their words, their opinions, their expressions, it's all being remote controlled. And all they're doing is following the command of those who have hijacked them. Without even knowing it. It's unconscious. But in the intimate cocoon of their consciousness, they are held in captivity by the judgments of those who have infiltrated their consciousness. Some have been in this condition for so long that they don't even know how it feels to be free. They can't even conceive the notion of being free or of having authentic personal expression. They don't even believe that they can't conceive the existence of that. They believe that everyone is psychologically hijacked by a person, by an entity, or a group of people that they fear judgment from. So when you live a life where you are psychologically hijacked and you're submitted to outside entities who are controlling you, you can't be trusted. Because you're not even in your body. You're not even being truthful about your own experiences. You don't even have the courage to proclaim what you want out of this life and what you've come to do. Every decision you make is being controlled by your remote controller, by the person who's remote controlling you. If you're listening to this and you believe that you've been psychologically hijacked, it's time to get up out of that spell. It's time to cast the roots of that out of you. And you start by telling the truth. What's the truth about your experience? What are you experiencing in your soul? Creating values around that truth, ideals around that truth. What type of experience would you like in your day-to-day life? How free would you like to feel? What treatment would you like from your personal administration, from the individuals who are participants in your reality? What are your real ideals? And why are those your ideals? What's your real position? And why is that your real position? Tell the truth about that aspect of yourself. And then fight for your independence in expressing and creating a reality that's in alignment and in sync with your true personal evolution. Go to war with whoever you need to go to war with to make that expression, to make that declaration. Be willing to disappoint. Be willing to break hearts. Be willing to offend. Stop people pleasing. Be willing to displease some people who enjoy having remote control over you. Accept yourself. Accept your insecurities. Accept your life story, however that is. Understand that your life is a production stage. It's art. It's from the moment you were born. You get to create the story every day. Fear not narratives you may or may not play in your mind on what the impact would be if you pursued your true personal evolution in your life and for your life. Be willing to disagree. Be willing to enforce law and order in your own space. Be willing to remove unwanted, misaligned energy and individuals from your environment when it's not in alignment with the desires of your heart. Cancel the contracts, unconscious contracts that you made with individuals who have psychologically hijacked you and they're remote controlling you. Identify it and how it works in others. Remove people from your environment who are psychologically hijacked and they're being remote controlled. Why would you even want that in your reality? With one command, they'll switch on you fast. Stop having disingenuous individuals orbit your reality. Stop allowing that. Get in touch with your soul. Have a standard that everyone in your reality must have their soul. And they must be in their body. When you can tell someone is psychologically hijacked, call it out, at least to yourself, that you are not talking to a person who is conscious and who is in control of their own body and their own mind. The highest measurement of truth is the reality you are forced to live. If you want to live a reality and you want to enhance sovereignty, freedom, personal expression, soul in your reality, you have to enforce the standard. Psychologically hijacked people are literally in hell, in their consciousness, in the intimate cocoon of their consciousness. It doesn't matter how it looks on the surface. Psychologically hijacked people is a punishment for being a coward in your own body, in your own life story. Psychologically hijacked people are held in bondage and captivity with the people that they fear judgment from, the people who give them paranoia and anxiety, the people who judge every little thing that they do with a critique that just crushes them for whatever reason. They're in hell in the intimate cocoon of their consciousness. That's why I always say, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world yet lose his soul? Because it doesn't matter how it looks on the surface. It's if in your soul you have been psychologically hijacking, you're not in control of your body. You're not in your mind. You're not on your throne. You're receiving energetic signals from individuals who you fear, and you are just pressing the command. You're just following their command in your own life, being remote controlled, psychologically hijacked. Psychologically hijacked people are demons. They are possessed by a demonic spirit. And I'm explaining to you practically what's going on. In a practical way, this is what's going on. I'm not just speaking a spiritual language here. I'm telling you, when people fear and they have trauma around something, and someone is able to invade and infiltrate their mind, yet this person is still a part of their personal reality, might be a family member, might be a connection that they have, might be a fake friendship, might be some in-laws, someone at work, the management at work, whatever. It's someone who has close ties in their personal reality and they fear judgment from. but they pretend to have a friendly relationship. Those are usually how psychologically hijacked dynamics go. They have fake friendly relationships with individuals that they are actually horrified with. It's actually a hostile, energetic exchange. It's very hostile energy, but they pretend to be friendly. And that individual or entity or group has psychologically hijacked them. They're controlling their movements in their life, and they're controlling what they say, online and offline. They're controlling how they show up. They're receiving the energetic signals from the people and the entities they fear, and they just follow the command. And they haven't even admitted it to themselves. Like I told you, ladies and gentlemen, I live in the unconscious. That's how the dynamic is between a victim of psychological hijacking. That's how that dynamic goes. Undo the bind, unbind that thing from you, unbind that spirit from your mind, from your spirit, from your soul, unbind it. You must be willing to be disliked. You must be willing to displease. But you have to be honest with the dynamics you have with individuals, with entities in your world, and how much power you are allowing them to dictate your personal expression, your true personal expression. Other than that, you ain't gonna never have no magic. You ain't gonna never have no pizzazz. Your life will never taste good. You will never be present fully. You will never be living your story. You always be living in the imagination of someone else, because they're using your soul as a power grid to fuel whatever the hell they got going on, whatever their objective is. That's why it's possession. People can control what events you show up to. People can control where you go. They can control your movements, control how you vote, control your political position, your social position, control your opinion, how you state it, how you talk, how you walk. When they can control that much, you ain't got no soul. You don't have soul in your eyes. You don't have soul in your walk. There's no soul in your talk. There's no soul in your words. There's no soul in your choices, because you are psychologically hijacked. Glory. I'm breaking down to you the unconscious. These are unconscious agreements, contracts, and dynamics people have. Sometimes you ain't talking to the person you think you're talking to. You're talking to a proxy that's being remote controlled by a hijacker. Some of y'all, your entire peer group consists of people who've been psychologically hijacked, including you. You're barely a human being at that point. There's a parasite controlling you. But now that you have the knowledge, and now that you can get seriously, and you can seriously explore the unconscious, your unconscious motivations, the real reason why you do shit that you don't want to do, the real reason why you move to, you do things, you make certain movements that you did not really want to make, but you feared the judgment of your hijackers so much that you submitted to what they wanted you to do. Now that you have this information, you can simply unhijack yourself. Unhijack yourself.
This Throne Mastermind session has concluded. Visit thronemastermindsessions.com to inquire about membership and to gain access to more Throne Mastermind sessions. All members may now exit the private session.